Hello guys. For this episode we're going to be talking about Creepshow. If some of you may not have forgotten, this is a horror anthology movie based around kind of a tribute to old school horror comics like the EC comics. And this came out in first let's talk about the basic facts of it. It came out in 1982. It's rated R, so no, it's not a kid picture. It's about 2 hours long. It was released on DVD in 2001. It has a 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb with about 33,000 approximately people, and about 59% on Metacritic, with about 9 critics. It has a lot of different kinds of actors, a lot of noticeable actors, especially in horror genre. But the lead ones were Hal Holbrook, who was in All the President's Men, among other a lot of supporting character roles. Once you see him in a movie, you pretty much can tell where he's in. He's been in other horror movies too, a lot. And Leslie Nielsen's in it too. He was in Airplane, a very well done comedy, and among some other stuff, of course, other stuff too. It's directed by George A. Romero, who of course did the Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, all the Dead movies, and a bunch of other horror movies too. It's also all the stories, I believe, are written by Stephen King. So Stephen King, it's a George A. Romero and Stephen King collaboration. Awesome. On Rotten Tomatoes, critics gave it 70% with 30 critics, giving their out of 30 critics, and 68% by audience is about 3,100. And the critics' consensus on Rotten Tomatoes is it's uneven, as anthologies often are, but Creepshow is colorful, frequently funny, and treats its hold on a sec. And treats its inspirations with infectious reference. Okay. And it does. It's available to rent and buy on Amazon, Google Play, Fandango, Vudu, PlayStation Store, and iTunes, and it's also available to buy on the Microsoft Store. It's not streaming anywhere. Alright, now, the movie itself. I have seen this movie a few times. I love it. It's definitely not your traditional horror movie. It's very much, in a lot of essence, it's kind of like a comic book movie. Sorry, I was reading that. It's a lot like a comic book movie in a literal sense. It has a lot of lighting, blues and red lightings. It has a lot of comic booky backgrounds in a lot of the big scenes when people lose their shit. And it's very over the top and very soap operatic to the point where it is a little funny, and that's kind of the point. And there's, I think, like 5 stories in it. Most of them are pretty solid. They're all pretty solid for the most part, but they're kind of right. There's some stories are probably a bit better than other ones. But Stephen King actually acts in a lead role in one story, but it's a very short story. But and I have to say that story's probably, first watching I thought was probably the weakest part of the movie, which is it's earlier in the movie. But after watching it over time, it's kind of grown on me. So I love it. It's very early 80s and pretty awesome. If you're a horror fan, you'll love this. This is definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but based on all the horror movies I've seen, I feel like this really kickstarted the cheesy 80s horror craze in the 80s. I mean, all the fun horror movies that came out in the 80s, I believe this started. Now, keep in mind, like, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, they came out before this, but their styles weren't what they became. Like, well, Halloween was virtually absent in the 80s. Friday the 13th was the 80s, and it did become a cheesy romp. Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare on the 13th, that would have been a great collaboration movie, but, Nightmare on Elm Street, it didn't start campy and cheesy, but once it got into the 80s, it became campy and cheesy. So, it pretty much did, as far as I'm concerned. It really did. And it did spawn a TV series. The TV series was originally going to be called Creepshow, but it ended up being called Tales from the Dark Side, which I'll review in the next episode. It'll be my first TV series I review, so the information I'm going to give will probably be a bit different. But yeah, it did spawn a couple of sequels, Creepshow 2 and Creepshow 3. Creepshow 2, I think, came out in the same decade. Those two didn't do as well. I haven't seen them, but it was strange because there is a Tales from the Dark Side movie, and a lot of people consider it Creepshow 3 in that essence. And I have seen Tales from the Dark Side movie, and it's alright for being spin off from the show. But this is definitely the best of them. If you're only going to watch one of those, I probably recommend this one out of the movies. The show's a bit different, but yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty awesome. Not a lot of negatives. It's definitely not 2017 horror. It's not the stupid haunted house ghost stuff. Oh my god. They keep making those movies. It's driving me insane. They're not making good horror movies anymore. You see, the problem... I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. It should be more of an editorial, but my opinion is horror movies don't have to be scary. What I mean by that is that there's a difference between startling someone out, making someone jump out of their seat, and delivering an entertaining and macabre, gruesome, and intense experience. There's a complete difference, and horror movies nowadays, they don't get it. And people keep going and watch them. I never do. But other people, young kids especially, they go and watch them because they think, oh, it makes me jump my seat, it equals a good horror movie, but it doesn't. And it's not because... And it's because you haven't seen... You don't understand... People don't understand what they're watching, and it's a shame. People don't get that horror movie... People nowadays, people of my generation, they don't understand what makes a good horror movie. And it's because studios keep feeding you guys the same shit. And it's not completely your fault. Studios should know better, but... Next time you go off to see Paranormal Activity fucking 7, maybe think for a split second, you know what, maybe I should watch something else. And I know about the Insidious and the Conjuring movies. I know people said they're good, but in all honesty... Alright, let's say I haven't seen any of those movies. All I've probably seen are trailers, what I've read about them on Rotten Tomatoes, and from what I heard from other people. And basically, here's what happens. This is what I'm going to guess. And those people didn't... I never read any spoilers or the complete storyline. I just know the premise. So here's what happens. Okay, in both of them. Okay, there's a group of ghost hunters. Now, they probably... They've either haven't seen a ghost yet, or they've kind of flirted with seeing one, but it's never been anything super intense, and they're struggling to get by or whatever. The group may contain a struggling couple, and they meet at one family. I think it's gonna be the same thing, but it isn't. One of the kids is possessed or something like that. The house is a little haunted, and we get a lot of creepy scenes of some ghosts or some jump scares, and it tries to be atmospheric, but it ends up copying all the other movies. And it ends with an over-the-top climax where everything's seen, and there's some use of CGI, and it's all about family and love or something like that, and it has somewhat of a happy ending. Or something like that. Yeah. If I'm wrong, that's because it's a guess and I haven't seen them. But if I'm right, that just shows you how fucking predictable they are. And yeah, they're pretty much. And the thing is that they're all ripping off Poltergeist. And here's the thing with Poltergeist. Poltergeist had atmosphere. It had gruesome visuals, but also had decent characters. And it was colorful. It wasn't... Here's my problem. When I see trailers for these horror movies, when I watch them, I don't think, that looks like a colorful crescendo film. When I mean crescendo films, films that go up and down. Films that it starts off one area, then it goes high, it goes low, characters react to this, some characters react a little differently. It's like a floodgate, a symphony of emotions. When I see trailers for those movies, I don't see a symphony of emotions. I just see something flat. I just see a flat, characters not emoting, the characters just either intense or bored. Characters are either scared or they're bored. They're not happy. They're never happy. They're not even sad. They're just either scared or they look bored. Or they're trying to be, or my personal favorite, they're trying to be serious or something, but they're not. And they're all like that. They're all like that. And people love them. And I don't understand it, because to me it's like, what do those movies offer compared to those? What makes those movies seem so much better than what we had before? If someone can tell me, I would like to hear their opinion. I would like to hear the reasoning, because I can't see it. But I'm sorry. But yeah, Creepshow's awesome. Watch it. 2 and 3, I don't know. I've heard and read they're not as good, but I'll still probably watch them at some point. I don't know. Could surprise me. Next episode, I'll review Tales from the Dark Side, my first TV show. It's gonna be a bit different. I'll go into details in that video, but yeah, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos. Leave comments if you have any requests or if you or whatnot. And yeah, Creepshow's awesome. And thanks for watching. Have a good day.